Good morning. I'd like to call the Facilities Committee meeting to order. I need an approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. First thing is the roof assessment update. Mr. Burnett.
Good morning. The memo includes a certain amount of recent history. Terracon is the consultant on this, and they've provided recommendations district-wide, and that's on a platform that we can use for planning and budgeting for future roof replacements. The status of where we're right now is that staff has reviewed much of the work, not all of the work. It is very large. Just as an example, this right here, this isn't the report. This is one school. So it's 144 pages. So the work is, the field work is done. The software review has taken place. There were a few, we'll say, software bugs that we had noticed, and that Terracon had noticed. And it's not Terracon software; it's Roof Pro software. So Terracon has been working back and forth with Roof Pro. We saw a few things, made comments on that. Those issues are being addressed, and we can really, however you want to, you can ask questions on where we are. We haven't received a file transfer or software access yet, but we could actually, if we wanted to, get hard copies of everything. It would just be again, this is one school, so it would be very large.
I have two quick questions. We bought an infrared camera to help us with the roofing assessments going forward. Has our facilities person been trained on that now, or where are we with that?
So yes, we priced a infrared camera and a drone. The purchase order on that is all in process. We haven't received that yet, but that is in the works. As far as training on the infrared and the drone, Danny, is that included in that price? Okay.
Okay, awesome. My second question was, based upon what you've seen, what's the overall idea on how our roofs are looking?
From what we've seen, again, we need to look at more of the I'll say it's not as bad as some people may have heard. As far as the immediate need, I didn't see anything that was jumping out, at us. As we were looking at Newtown Elementary School, that was probably one that we thought would be one that would have a lot of attention, and it's actually up on the screen. We can kind of go through that particular one, and I think a lot of you all have been on that roof. So if you want, we can kind of talk through it, and Danny, microphone's over there if you want to. Again, this particular report for Newtown, I think, is 144 pages, and we can highlight some of the items. If I recall, there wasn't anything as far as major replacement this year or next year. I think it was year 4, if I'm correct on that.
That's correct. Yeah, don't worry, we're not going through all 144 pages of it. Kind of going to give you a quick overview. Like we said, or like Dave said, we chose this one because we were on the roof. So 3/4 of us have been up there, or at least half of us, right? So this is the typical report. This is for, like Dave said, every facility, the overview. I'll go through quickly. I don't want to bore you to tears in it. So very easy, quick snapshot. And that's all this is just a quick snapshot. Green is good, obviously. Yellow is moderate. Caution, needs some attention in some form or fashion. And red is, danger. We need to look at it. And this is a mobile unit. This one actually has some rust on the roof and some seams popping out on it. So that's why it's red. But that's the overall title page.
All that in yellow is
Moderate means it's moderate, meaning
Some of that is metal.
that's correct. And what the moderate is based upon is the RCI, which is the roof condition index. It's a rating from 0 to 100. 100 meaning it's a brand new roof, 0 meaning you got an open sky, it was straight open, right? And then it's rated like 86 to 100 is some routine maintenance needed. 56 to 70 is moderate repairs, and it keeps on going down, right? It's graduated scale. So it's based on that. And then the assessed service life remaining, ASLR, you'll see that in a minute. So based upon those is what gives you the green, yellow, or the red.
I guess I'm just surprised by that. I have a roof that's 10 years old. Somewhat surprising.
Well, see, on the metal roof, what you're probably going to, what's probably why it's in there is you have some lap sealant that needs to be addressed. Just routine maintenance. Need to put caulking down. So it's not saying that. Right.
Sorry, I understand that it doesn't mean the roof needs to be replaced. I get that. I'm just asking questions.
So quickly going through, as you see, title page, and then you have a summary of roof sections. So each roof section is here. You got 1.01, see, and it's 200 square feet. And they break out each section to begin with. I've highlighted this one because this is the one we're just going to look at, and then the rest are typical. So you have section 104. I picked this one because this is the one where the roof hatch is right as we came out onto the roof. Everyone, or a lot of people, are familiar with that one. It tells you that it's 4,800 square feet. It's a TPO or thermoplastic single ply. And here's where you got your condition index, roof condition index, and ASLR, the assessed service life remaining numbers. So good condition, right? Overall good condition. 56, and like I said, the RCI from 56 to 70 is moderate repairs needed, and 56 to 7 on the condition index is a good. So if it was a 55, it would have been fair. Kind of gives you the idea of what we're looking at. And it gives you an estimated replacement value over here. This is, well, sorry. And then the assessed service life remaining is 4 years of this roof. And then we'll get to there and we'll look at it in detail. So I'm going to jump to page 14, recommended summary or recommendation summary. This is for every section. Okay. I've highlighted 104 because you have in year 2018, you have repairs that are needed. Is an expense or capital. If it's a low item, budget item, they mark it as expense. If it's a high budget item, they mark it as capital. To kind of give you the two different reports. So as you see, 2018, you got $500 worth of repairs needed, maintenance repairs needed, and then in 2022, a replacement cost of $88,992. I'm going to go through just that one piece of the roof that we're talking about. We're going to stay on that same one, be typical.
Danny.
Yes, sir.
A quick question. The capital expenses, are they current day dollars or have they inflated them for future years?
They put an assessed value in those, and that's one of the anomalies that they're looking at. Right now, they have a 3% in there,
Okay.
and they cannot tell us right now if that's a 3% every year or if it's a 3% from today's dollars, because you have to put in a square foot cost on today's dollars, and so they're looking into that as well. So that number's there, but it may change. And then it goes through the capital budgets. You have a 10-year capital budget. As you see, there's that 88,992. It just kind of breaks it out, right? You kind of see the recommendation summary at first, and then it goes into more detail and more detail. Same with 17, it gives you an expense budget over the 10 years. Gives you the warranties after all that. Who has the warranty? What is the warranty? When does it expire? And then it gets you into the roof section. I'll spend just a little bit more time here, and then we'll be done. Again, it gives you all the information here, and this is detailed. Shows you overall where this is in the roof plan. Okay, gives you the roof warranty information again. Then it gives you some membrane defects, outstanding. So here you have you got this A5, which will be, make sense in a minute, coping metal, deteriorated / missing sealing at laps. You have 10 linear feet of this, right? And then you have 4 penetrations, H3 penetrations, deteriorated sealant. So the $500 means estimated value for replacing this, or repairing this, excuse me, and repairing this. Those are the membrane defects.
We'd mention also that it's difficult when you try to price those 1 items, 2 items, and things like that, because it costs a lot of money for a contractor to come out to do just a little scope, as opposed to we would try to be packaging these things so that it would be a lot, large volume. So again, it's a challenge for the consultants to try to price that because they're not really sure how we're going to be, approaching it.
So after it gives you the overview of the defects, it then goes through what the rooftop details are. So you have pipe penetrations, you have your overflow scuppers, and your primary scuppers detailed. Now you see this is the same picture. They're not going to take individual pictures for each one. They're just going to give you what the typical picture is. Example. Yes, thank you. And then obviously penetrations for curb and equipment. Roof hatch, you see that in the parapet walls. Now on the moisture surveys, I highlighted this because this is where we paid for the infrared. And I picked this one. 1, it's where we came up, and 2, it has anomalies detected in it. Most of them say no anomalies detected. As you see here for these 2 roof images, it's just the different sections of the roof. Here, you see where the stacks are coming out and the roof penetrations. It's not an anomaly. That's just a difference in temperature where the stack is versus what the roof membrane temperature is. What you want to pay note to, and while there's an anomaly detected, is here. And they say anomaly detected because that only says there's an anomaly there that needs further investigation. This is right outside the roof hatch. Danny McManus's opinion only is that this was a patch that was done that was leaking, and there's a little bit of moisture underneath the membrane here. That's what that looks like to me. But I just wanted to show you that. The other anomaly that they have, and the glitch that they have is, as you see this wording. On the screen and on their software, they say that the wording is typed in correctly and looks great, but when they produce it, pull the report, you have this. I mean, you can make it out, but it's very, but it's very difficult to do so. So obviously, we have to get that fixed.
And that's an item specific to Roof Pro.
Right.
So that's the software. And again, Terracon had noted that and is trying to, get Roof Pro to fix that.
So overall, what we have to do is we have to replace some deteriorated sealant on the coping cap metal and around the pipe penetrations in this area for right now in 18, and a replacement in 2022 for this area. The last thing I want to show you is, with all this, the A5 and the H3 that I talked about, said would make sense. Also included is you have the overall plan with the section numbers listed. And we'll scroll down. Here is the section of roof. That's the roof hatch we actually came out of. Right here. In the A5, it's a great detailed plan because we see that there's defects, and we have a picture of the defects, and so now we need to know what we need to do with them. A5 is noted here and here. It says coping metal, open joint, deteriorated, missing sealing at laps. So we know we have to go here and fix this, or someone does. And then H3 is penetrations, pipe, deteriorated sealant. We have here and here that we need to address, and these are the 2 locations. So it's typical like that for every school, every section, and the 144 pages is the detail of every one of those sections. It's just redundant. I know that was a quick overview, and you may have questions, but I don't want to waste all your time.
I think this looks great. Are you guys overall happy with the way the roof assessment came out and the amount of information you've been given about the roofs?
We're very pleased. And this actually is the roadmap for us on preventative maintenance, and long-term, CIP planning, so we think we have great data, to protect the roofs.
Agreed. And then from Roof Pro, we've also, we've paid for and will receive an Excel spreadsheet that pulls straight from the Roof Pro software, so we can pull and sort that any way we want to, of where do we have lap sealant deterioration. Here's where we have all that at. So we don't have to go through each one and get so granular each and every time.
It's good.
Do we provide the detailed drawings or do they do those?
A combination of both. I mean, we provided base maps for them, and then all that you see right there is from Terracon.
Okay, so my question is, you did all 53 schools, any of our other buildings, or just the schools?
We did all Union County Public School
Correct.
facilities.
We did. We even did Old Fairview, so we'd have an assessment.
Yeah, I think it was
You did
57
beyond
if I remember
just
right.
the 53 schools. Okay.
Yes.
I wanted to know, obviously we have a lot of new roofs in the county over the past 3 or 4 years. How did the new roofs score? I mean, did anything stand out, like the new roof projects that have already been completed compared to the roofs that have not, the old roofs that have not been replaced? And what stood out in these reports? Like, do you have a list of schools that need a new roof that did not get their new roof?
Yeah, we need time to digest the report and to go through and evaluate it. So I can't answer the question certainly about the new roofs and how they compared, because we just haven't seen all of that information. We haven't seen every single school and evaluated it yet.
But you've received their full report.
We've seen. We had a meeting with them 3 weeks ago or so, where we went through and we're trying to make sure that format is good, the information, the detail is good, all that kind of stuff, and picked out those kinds of things. We have not received, the 57 sites and every single report. Like, again, this one's 144 pages. We haven't received all of that and been able to go through it yet.
Okay. That's important. I mean, obviously we need to get this information, especially when we were going to spend $500,000 or $600,000 on Newtown, and it would appear, according to this report, that it did not need a new roof at this time.
We have some time. We have some maintenance that we need to do, and that's a great roadmap for us. But
I mean,
$90,000
is a big difference from $500,000. So
right, and what Danny just pulled up is by year on the capital side.
And it's still under warranty.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so we do, at this point in time, we do not know the full scope. If you're not prepared to come to us and say that this school or this school needs a new roof.
Correct. Yeah, we aren't there yet.
But by the time we get into budget season
That's what I was gonna
for
ask.
our CIP, hopefully between now and then, we'll know what schools do or do not need roofing needs.
Well, right now we're actually in budget season, and we're in CIP. In fact, we have a meeting this afternoon on CIP. This first year, 2018-19, again, we'll try to confirm that what our needs are right now. We still have the $2 million that have been in the past years, and that was from the previous roofing consultant. So we still have that as a placeholder. And this.
I would say, first off, this report is great. So I'm really excited that we have this now. You had mentioned a few months ago that you anticipated, after receiving these documents, that you would have roofing binders, like for all of our schools. Do you see, but now that you know how big these reports are, is that going to be like a digital library at facilities?
We certainly want to keep it digital.
Right.
Yeah. Because I know we had talked about having these binders, so it sounds like now this is going to be like a digital library for each school or each roof.
Yes, because that library is going to change. So like when we go and replace that sealant, we're going to make a note. And so now that software has changed. And so that report is now no longer valid if we print it off. So we want to keep that document live and working.
So I would say, out of everything that you presented, the thing that really jumped out at me was the service life remaining. So if we could, when you do start looking at these reports, I think, for me, I would like to see what the service life remaining is on our 57 roofs,
Okay.
or whatever. That I don't know if anyone else has a recommendation, but that seemed
Well, I think that
pretty important. And the warranty.
I think that plays into the
Mhm.
CIP and where we're going with the CIP too. I guess just from a general look at it, I thought metal roofs were supposed to last for like 50 years. And hearing that we're not even going to make it to 20 is
Alarming.
a little alarming.
So several things. Again, much of the expense and effort on the metal roofs was preventive maintenance. Whether that roof, whether the metal roofs need to be replaced in 4 years, I'm pretty sure that the
It
report
said
didn't
9.
say that.
No.
It said
Okay,
9.
Right, 9 years.
Okay.
Which would only make the school not even 20 years old.
We're 11 years into, so
Okay, so
that'll be 20.
exactly 20 years.
Right.
Yeah, and again, that's something we will continue to evaluate. And if we don't see a clear, reason and issues, with the metal roofs, then we will continue to.
Oh,
push
I understand
off.
that. I get that. I get that that's just an estimate of what they think, and we wouldn't replace a roof that doesn't need replacing, but it was
Yeah.
just.
But you're correct, and I agree with you that we would expect the service life of a metal roof to be beyond 20 years.
So since we've already acknowledged that most of us, or a lot of us in this room, went up on the roof, and we were encouraged not to go up on the roof because we wouldn't see anything, that it just needed to be replaced. Would we all agree, after looking at this report, that Firestone was incorrect when they told us that there was no need to go up on the roof, that we just needed to replace it?
Dave wasn't here then.
So, but no,
Yes.
but you can look at the report. Is it fair to
Yes.
say that
Yeah,
$90,000 or $90,000 would be an appropriate budget for Newtown Elementary, as opposed to replacing the entire thing for, over half?
400,000.
Well, actually, that was just the 90,000 was the one roof sections.
Right.
So here in 2022, the assessed value is 874,000 is on the report for replacement. Year 2020, you got, and this is total budgets, expenses and replacement. In 2020, you got 13 grand to spend, and this year we got 41,000 to spend.
Yeah, so that takes us out 5 years from what we were talking about.
5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So totally worth it.
I'd like to ask Dave, put him on the spot, but I think this is a good question for you all as well. Who's going to own this in our shop? Who's going to own it? And what's the process, if you've thought it through that far, on how we continually update this and make sure it's a living document? We don't put it on the shelf. So I put you on the spot.
Sure. And it's a great question, because I believe that it's going to be more of an effort, than has been done in the past. We need to make sure that we can do all of the things. What we expect is that as we're looking at reorganizing, the facilities and maintenance departments, that we have identified an area, that would do it, as far as the folks who would be getting up on the roofs and looking at that. We probably will be looking at subcontracting out, significant portions of this, of the maintenance work. So that's one component of it. And then the more of the long-term, planning of it and managing the software. We've identified another area that's more of the construction planning department. And that's where we, expect ownership of that part.
That's just Newtown up there, correct?
That's just
That is
Newtown.
correct.
Okay, so in conclusion, since you're in budget season and we're preparing, for the new CIP or an updated CIP, I just think I would like to see a report card for all 57 roofs and some kind of reporting system, so that we as board members can see what is the service life remaining and what is your opinion. What grade would you give those 57 roofs, so that we can prioritize which ones need to be addressed, between now and 2022, a report card.
And a couple of things here too. The Roof Pro software, does it integrate with any facilities management systems that you know of?
As far as like School Dude,
Or School Dude or any other systems that are out there?
we weren't looking at a direct connection to, and we use School Dude.
Yeah.
So we weren't looking at a direct connection, to it.
Okay, because it'd be good if you can get the data into like a asset management or facilities management system, facilitate the work, come back in, it goes back into the system.
Right. And as far as asset management and facility management softwares, we're real lean on that to possibly non-existent.
Okay, and the other thing I want to bring up too, I'm all for the drone. We just need to make sure that the operator is good to use it and liability and everything.
Yeah.
So.
I agree with Melissa that we need something that goes through all the 57 roofs, but I think that you're going to come to that when we put together the 5-year plan, because you're going to have to look at it all to determine what we're doing over the next 5 years with roofing. And I think that'll be extremely helpful on a go forward. Okay, anything else on roof? Awesome. Thank you very much, both of you, Danny. Surplus inventory, this is just an FYI. Okay.
Yes.
This month, it's the grounds report. Okay, construction update.
Yes, this is a very lengthy construction update. We're in the season where we are doing a lot of bids for CIP. So I'll go through much of that. Also wanted to make you aware, Porter Ridge High School, Porter Ridge Middle School, we have 4 chillers that operate that campus. One of those chillers has failed. We are looking to replace that chiller as quickly as we possibly can, because we do want to get that back in service before testing period for schools. And that is going to be a tough thing to achieve. But we will be running at best case 75% capacity if those chillers are at 100%.
Okay.
So that's a tall order.
So that wasn't budgeted for this year because it was a catastrophic failure.
That's correct.
So we have to find the funds to pay for it. I know that I think that that's something you have to look into. I really don't want to put off any projects that are currently on the CIP to do this. We had $500,000 from the county to do the roof assessment, and we spent $240,000. So we have some money there that I would like to go ask the county if they would allow us to move that money and pay for this, or if you guys have found somewhere else to get that money from. So when you come, it says you're going to come to the board on March 6th once we get the bids.
Okay.
I would like to kind of understand where we are with how we're going to pay for it. And if you know something before then, the county is meeting on the 5th, so we could try to get in on that agenda as well if we have some idea. But I would like to try to do that if possible. Do you guys agree with that?
I agree.
Yeah.
And
Unless you have a different
No.
recommendation.
No. And did you want to have a facilities committee meeting on the 5th before that, or?
Well, we would need to do it on the 2nd when you get the bid in, right? Because we would need to get the information to the county to go on the agenda. But I can let the county know that we're going to have something for the agenda. Because
March 2nd.
March 2nd, it says. So if we might as well send it now for the request, and that we'll update the amount when we get the bid in on the 2nd. But I think we should put it on the agenda and move the money, unless you have a better idea of where we could get the money from. We still have money in our budget for roofs. If something were to happen this fiscal year, we still have that. But we had set us, because we didn't know how much the roof assessment was going to be. This might be a good place to ask for it.
Yep.
Okay.
That was the initial thought, and we're going to continue to look through the CIP.
Okay, great.
What's the typical warranty period on the chiller?
Danny, do you know, is it 5 years? It's 5 years. Yeah. Next item under the construction update, FYI, we've got some paving bids that are coming up. We did bid just recently, did not have 3 bidders. We've re-advertised and are going back out. We're expecting to receive those bids on the 27th. We do still want to take this to the full board on March 6th. So if we combine it.
That's fine.
Okay.
Did you get any bids at all?
I think we had 2 bids.
Okay, so you have to go back out because you didn't
Correct.
get 3. Okay.
Yes. Water heater storage tank. We received bids, 2 bids on that. It was an informal bid. The recommended and the one that we're pursuing is A.O. Smith units at $14,360. Note that was not the low bid. However, it was the preferred manufacturer. So that's why we're going with them. We're going with them because of accessible parts. We know how to use those systems and program those systems, and we have them in other schools.
Great.
Western Union abatement, $85,000 was the low bid submitted by CCI, and we're pursuing a PO with that. That is part of the upcoming project for renovation and the bond work. Security system upgrades at Hemby Bridge, Monroe Middle, Union, Unionville, and Forest Hills. 2 bids were received. Fire control systems at Charlotte is the low bids in the amount of $90,431. We're pursuing a PO for that. For the 4 schools now, the 5th school, which was Forest Hills, that is next year's money. So we will be waiting until July 1st to do a change order, to this bid, and proceed with that scope. Parkwood Middle School concrete sidewalk expansion. 3 bids were received. Low bid was from TRC of Monroe in the amount of $7,342. We're pursuing a purchase order. Parkwood High School East Elementary School door replacement. Had 2 bids on that. And often with our bids, we do combination bids trying to get quantity discounts. In this particular case, it was cheaper to break those apart, which we have that flexibility with how we bid it. So we're awarding the East Elementary School scope to Cook and Boardman Group at $59,000, and the Parkwood scope to Latham Door and Hardware in the amount of $58,500.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
Are all the ones you talked about so far on the fiscal year 18 CIP, or are they a mixture of things?
This particular bid is this current CIP.
CIP, okay.
The security upgrades was a combination.
Well, the one was fiscal 19. I saw that. Okay, great. Okay.
Piedmont High School intercom. 3 bids were received. Low bid provided by Fire Control Systems of Charlotte in the amount of $92,436. That's what we're proposing there. We did not accept a bid alternate, a deducted bid alternate to use existing cabling. It was more beneficial for us to just have them cable the J&K buildings. There's some future bids coming up. That's East Elementary School canopy replacement. That's February 20th. That was yesterday, but it was too late for our time frame. Sun Valley Middle School gym projector. That's the 23rd. Monroe Middle School renovations. That's March 6th. Sun Valley Middle School and various sites for ADA. That's going to be in April.
Would you like us to hold a quick meeting before the board meeting on the 6th to approve the bids that you've gotten in and then take it to the full board at that time?
It's not, Danny, did we hear what that price was that should have come in yesterday? I did not hear. Okay. Right.
But we don't have to approve them because they'll be under.
That should be
Okay.
informal.
Okay. The canopy replacement as well?
Correct. That
Okay.
should be less
Okay,
than.
great. Keep going.
East Union, replace whiteboards. That scope is to, it's asbestos abatement. It's chalkboard and marker board removal, tack board removal. There's old frames that are associated with that, old wood frames. Those come off. And we're replacing with new marker board, new tack boards. What we are trying to do, though, is it's an opportunity to improve those classrooms more than just replace the boards. In some cases, you've got classrooms where The technology is on one wall, the marker board is on the other wall, the teacher and teacher desk are on the other wall, and in between that is 30, 35 students. It's hard for the teacher to for circulation in that classroom. It's not making much sense. What we are trying to do is to improve that by having a dedicated teaching wall where the teacher can be focused on that one side. The school has asked for this. We were ahead of them. We were already there, seeing that it was an obvious problem. So that is one thing we are trying to do. It is an expansion of the scope, and we are believe that we have identified funds that can make that happen. But we don't have a bid date set on that yet. It's still in planning.
Okay.
Benton Heights Elementary School auditorium project, as mentioned at the last meeting, which was 2 weeks ago, the contractor is about 15% complete. Block masonry is underway. If you've driven by there, you definitely see something. We're definitely out of the ground. When I was there last week, they were close to topping out one of the walls on the masonry. So it's there's something to see there. It's pretty obvious what's that we've got some major construction going on there. Bond projects have some bid dates or bid periods. Monroe High School, we're looking to receive bids May. Western Union, that we're anticipating receiving bids in April. Piedmont High School, that's May. Porter Ridge High School and Porter Ridge Middle School. Right now, we're advertising receiving bids in July and award in August. We are actually trying to see if we can't improve upon that, but we aren't promising that. So we're saying July, but if we can get it in sooner, we will do that. All those projects I just mentioned in the bond projects are in the design development phase. Transportation Center, we don't have any change from previous reports.
Do conversations continue?
We have a meeting tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. I have it pushed in. Oh, you're supposed to push yours in.
We're meeting with county staff tomorrow.
Okay, great. We just need to have some sort of timeline from the county because we need to get this going. So let us know how that meeting goes and we can reach out to county commissioners to discuss that as well.
And last one is Sun Valley High School additions renovations. We are still looking at receiving bids for a site package in May. And the building portion that's in design development, and we're anticipating receiving bids probably in August. We haven't had any input from Branch Associates, the proposed CM at risk contractor. They're getting up to speed, and they're developing their pre-construction services fee proposal. And we're going back and forth on contract language. And as they get up to speed, we certainly do want their input on scheduling and sequencing the work. And so our schedules, may change depending on that.
Okay. And Sun Valley. So the first phase is the fields, correct? The athletic fields. So they will be down to one field while the construction is going on, which is the existing stadium, correct? I've gotten a lot of questions about this.
So again, we have to sequence that work.
Okay.
It makes sense. Certainly the stadium is not going to be touched.
Right.
We're going to replace the stadium and then we'll come back and do the existing stadium. Baseball, softball fields are going to be regraded. Certainly we want to get those up and running by spring for baseball season.
Okay.
So it makes sense to do that sooner.
Correct.
We are looking to add a practice field. And the intent and idea behind the practice field was because we're going to be messing up all the other fields. We need to get them, somewhere, to go. So that's the thought there.
Would that be on the other side of the service drive?
Correct.
Okay. Great. Okay.
It is ambitious.
Yes.
And, but, it's, we will continue to leave the existing stadium field. So
Okay.
hopefully they can make a good deal of use out of that.
Okay. The dump at Sun Valley, are those discussions ongoing?
Did have a discussion with the county. They have identified 4 sites that they were pursuing, and where they are in that, I don't know.
Okay.
But they are actively
Awesome.
looking at replacing that.
Okay.
And they are aware of our timeline as well. I know Dave
Okay.
communicated that to the guy with solid waste.
Is one of the sites the Public Works building, just a couple miles up the road?
I don't know if they're wanting it public yet or not.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
know. And that was it for the construction update.
Next item is building and zoning permits, which is just FYI information.
Yeah, one thing that we did pick up though, there was an uptick in the in the number of permits. And we were looking at historical data to see if that's anything to be concerned about. And my conclusion is it's too soon, because we did have from August to December, we were in a decline. And now we had an uptick. Is that simply because we had the decline before? So it is a significant uptick, but at this point, I think it's too soon to draw any kind of conclusions.
So considering you had an uptick and you only had 2 municipalities respond, do we need to be reaching out to our municipalities, or are we, there are 12, I believe, listed here, but we're only hearing from 2. If there's an uptick in building permits, are we not hearing from some of our local municipalities on their permits? Do we need to reach out to them, and or are you okay with only hearing from 2?
I was just gonna say, I think the ones that we're hearing from is in covering the county. I don't know that, so we've got Monroe, we have Waxhaw. I'd have to ask, does Indian Trail, do they do their own permitting? So I think we're covering all those.
So when we get this report, we don't need these.
We got Waxhaw and Monroe. I don't know why there's not yeses next.
Yeah.
So do we need to take these off the list so that it doesn't look like we didn't hear from them?
Let me look into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that is it. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you.